care. 43% support it, while 59% favor repealing all or part of the health care reform. So will the voice of the people reflect in tomorrow's decisions, or at least the beginning of the decisions? Let's ask the former governor and senator of the great state of Virginia, George Allen, who joins us now. Good to see you, sir. Thanks for coming in.
Wonderful to be with you, Dave. You have a good show.
I
don't know if the judges will listen to the people. The folks who've been listening to the people, or have not been, are the members of Congress and the Senate. Gosh, it was about this time at New Year's Eve last year when the Senate passed by one vote this monstrosity on Christmas Eve. And they haven't been listening to people. I think you see Judge Hudson in the Virginia case is what they're looking at is this individual mandate, this dictate.
Right.
And the federal government says they can regulate interstate commerce. Well, somebody not buying an insurance policy is not commerce. It's doing nothing. It's not interstate because insurance is actually mostly regulated by the states. And David, I've been all over Virginia on the Hands Off Our Health tour, healthcare bus tour, and folks are against this. It's not surprising that people want to repeal it. They were against it in the first place.
The point is,
now they see how bad it is.
The more they hear it, whether it's coming from the president or whether it's coming from the mainstream media, the more they seem to dislike it. But polls, the courts, the politicians are supposed to be affected by polls because they are representatives of the people. But the courts are not supposed to be affected by polls. So despite what the polls say, should the courts be ruling just on the basis of law and be unaffected at all by what the polls say?
The courts ought to be following the Constitution. That is their responsibility. They're not a super appellate legislative branch. The laws are to be made by the people. The Constitution, though, does protect our God-given rights and also the rights and prerogatives of the people in the states. And so that's why the key charge here is this individual mandate, which is not commerce. It's not something that can be regularized or regulated by the government. The other thing why many states are upset with this is the unfunded mandates with the expansion of Medicaid. And it also thwarts what's one of the beauties of our federal system, and that is the states as laboratories of innovation. Right. Massachusetts can have an approach like this federal law. No one emulates it. Indiana has health savings accounts, which are much more popular and a positive approach. And so I know, having been governor, if somebody's got a good idea in some state, you'll say, hey, let's do that in Virginia. Or somebody's got a bad idea, they say, heck, we don't want that in our state. But what the federales are doing here is imposing this nightmare on all folks.
All right, well, let me stop you there, Governor. Hold on a second. Let me stop you and just ask if that's true. And I agree with that. If the states are a better place to try things out than by federal imposition, should the states be allowed to opt out of Obamacare, as a lot of individual companies can now?
Oh, that's a great idea. That's the way it should be. After all, the states are the ones where you do have these ideas. And what the federal government's done, as I said earlier, is imposed a failed system in Massachusetts and imposed it on the whole country. And I think many states would love to have that freedom. And one of the examples of that years past was when I was governor on welfare reform. We passed a comprehensive welfare reform in like 2 years before the federal government did. Other states, Michigan, Wisconsin, were doing things. And that, again, is the beauty of our system. And you find out what works, what doesn't work, what can be modified to be made better, rather than these folks ignoring the values and views of the people, reducing access to senior citizens as far as health care, the dictates, the harm to individuals, to small businesses, and great witnesses you've had on tonight. And my friends that I talk to just say, gosh, there's got to be a better way. And the better way is having people in charge with more affordable personal health savings accounts where you're not reliant on the government or employers.
Well, it's great that we came up with an answer here. Let individual states opt out the same way that companies are doing now. Maybe that's what they'll go for. Governor George Allen, great to see you, sir. Thanks for being here.
Thank you for being strong for innovation and freedom.
I appreciate it, Governor. Thanks a million. Coming up on deck, the Tea